Did you know that the number 5 clearly has some hidden meaning for Luc Besson as it appears throughout the film? Evil awakens every 5,000 years. The number of elements is 5. The countdown stops at 5 seconds before the bomb explodes. The Mangalores start their countdown from 5 seconds. More interesting facts about the film The Fifth Element are in this issue. This film was released in the distant 1997, but many still remember it as one of the best sci-fi films in history. With this comedic action film, Luc Besson literally tore up the Cannes Film Festival, and his actors gained even more popularity. Willis and Milla Jovovich did an excellent job. This film is still watched and rewatched with pleasure, but there are still some funny little things in it that almost no one noticed. When The Fifth Element hit the screens, it became a cult sci-fi film for many generations. It held the status of the most expensive film in the history of France. Luc Besson received $90 million for the production. And what's particularly pleasing is that all this money is fully visible on the screen. The language spoken by Milla Jovovich's character was invented by Luc Besson himself. Of course, it didn't go without improvisation by the actress herself. By the end of the filming, they could easily chat with each other in the invented language, much to the delight of the film crew. The explosion in the main Floston Hall was the most powerful indoor explosion in cinema history at the time of the film's release. Leeloo's full name is
Good.
At the beginning of the film, each hieroglyph has 5 lines, but Leeloo's tattoo has 6. This looks like a movie blooper. The timeline in the film is calculated incorrectly. The film starts in Egypt in 1914. Then we jump to the year 2263. A total of 349 years have passed, although the titles tell us that only 300 years have passed. This is funny. The scientist, judging by the thick lenses in his glasses, has serious vision problems, although he can create a person in the lab practically out of nothing. Or maybe it's just a fashion statement. Many of the Mangalores who staged the massacre on Floston Paradise wore special combat protective goggles. This was done to hide the actors' eyes, visible through the masks, and to save on makeup around the eyes and special contact lenses. Of course, for the model Milla Jovovich, The Fifth Element was not her film debut. At the age of 13, she had already appeared in the film Two Moon Junction. And yet, The Fifth Element has become and remains Milla's main film. She got the role only after her second attempt to pass the audition. Besides her, 3,000 other candidates were considered. After the film was shot, she promptly married Luc Besson and divorced him just as quickly 2 years later.
What do you mean?
Luc Besson loves Star Wars so much that he included a few references to it. According to the script, Chris Tucker's character was not named Ruby Road, but Lock Road. This name can be found in the book written based on the film.
How was it?
When Corbin is fired from his taxi job, we can see the word ZORG. So, Corbin worked as a taxi driver for his future enemy. When we first see Corbin Dallas on screen, we can see the date on the calendar in his room, March 18th, 2263. March 18th is Luc Besson's birthday. When the president tells Priest Cornelius that he has 20 seconds to express his thoughts, he manages to convey his ideas exactly in those 20 seconds. Originally, The Fifth Element was conceived as a trilogy, but during pre-production, Besson decided to combine all 3 parts into one. By the time the film was released, the cost of creating the special effects amounted to $80 million, which was the highest in cinema history. The film turned out to be bright and life-affirming not only because it was supposed to be according to the script. It was also due to Besson's firm decision to avoid endless dark corridors and tunnels typical of sci-fi, especially space and dystopian genres. He was so fed up with the darkness of sci-fi that he insisted on bright and glowing sets and locations. And the brighter, the better. The sign on the McDonald's train, into which the police car crashes, reads serving 65 trillion people. The parasites cleaning the spaceship chassis before the flight to Floston Paradise are boblins, popular 80s toys. Gary Oldman agreed to act in this film without reading the script. It was a favor to Luc Besson, with whom he had become friends during the filming of Leon. The painting The Broken Column by Mexican artist Frida Kahlo served as the starting point for Jean-Paul Gaultier in designing Milla Jovovich's character's dress. The role of the unlucky robber who tried to rob Corbin Dallas' apartment was played by Besson's close friend, director Matthew Kassovitz. He is known for his works such as La Haine, The Crimson Rivers, and Gothica. An interesting fact is that the main hero Corbin Dallas, Bruce Willis, and the main antagonist Zorg, Gary Oldman, never meet in the film. Moreover, they do not even talk on the phone or communicate in any way. By the way, at one point, they miss each other by just a second in the corridor. From the first viewing, every second viewer asked the same question: who actually performed the opera aria of the alien opera diva Plavalagina? And what is this aria? The answer is simple and slightly disappointing. At first, Plavalagina performs an aria from Donizetti's opera Lucia di Lammermoor. The second, more modern part of the composition is the handiwork of the film's composer, Eric Serra. Initially, the part was performed by Albanian vocalist Inva Mula. Her voice was significantly processed to give the performance characteristics beyond human capabilities. Inva had to not only sing the song but also record each vocal note separately so that sound engineers could edit them as they saw fit. Luc Besson said that casting Bruce Willis was the easiest part of the film. Luc Besson went to New York, where Bruce Willis read the script. After 2 hours, he said he would do it. The film The Fifth Element was chosen as the opening film for the 1997 Cannes Film Festival. Initially, Milla Jovovich's hair was dyed bright orange. But because the dye quickly washed out of her hair, they had to make several red wigs. Mel Gibson was considered for the role of Corbin Dallas. Jean Reno could also have played the role of Corbin, but producers from Columbia Pictures insisted that this role be played by an American actor. Corbin Dallas lived somewhere in Brooklyn. We can see this behind Mr. Kim's flying boat. When they were filming the scene of Leeloo falling into Corbin's taxi, Besson did not warn Willis that Milla would be speaking a strange language. Willis's surprise was genuine. In terms of the number and complexity of special effects, The Fifth Element was also a record holder for European and not only cinema. By the way, the production of the film was handled by the Gaumont Studio, which has been making French films for over 100 years. In the 1950s, the studio was responsible for such films as Fantomas, La Chèvre, The Tall Blonde Man with One Black Shoe, their handiwork. Luc Besson wrote the original script while still in high school. He came up with the story of the film and invented the world of the film when he was a child to escape his lonely childhood. He started writing the script when he was 16. Although the film was released in theaters when he was not yet 38, he made the hero a taxi driver because his own father worked a second job as a taxi driver. There is a taxi driver in almost all of Luc's films to honor his father's memory. At the beginning of the film, Gary Oldman's character quotes Nietzsche, that which does not kill us makes us stronger.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Bruce Willis once recorded an album with the same title. Luc Besson stated in several sources that The Fifth Element is a representation of life, love, and art, and that the fifth element is a symbol of life. And that's all for today, folks. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Let's continue enjoying great movies together. Until next time.